Hi, Barbie.
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 Hey, Sun Space Sun. I'm Daisy Victoria, and today I am going to do another Barbie dress. I grew up loving playing with Barbies and dressing them up. In fact, making clothes for my Barbie dolls was some of my earliest sewing projects. And I've even done a couple of Barbie dresses here on this YouTube channel. So when I heard about the Barbie movie starring Margot Robbie, I was so excited. I knew she'd be a great Barbie, and I was just super into this upcoming movie. So when I saw the trailers and this pink gingham, super cute vintage inspired dress she's wearing, I thought I would like to make that dress. My original plan was to create this dress and wear it to the opening of the Barbie movie. And that is in fact what I had every intention of doing. However, life got in the way. And so today, not only am I going to tell you about how I made this Barbie dress so that you can make one yourself, maybe it will help you with one you're making yourself, or you can just have a buddy to hang out, maybe you're sewing or doing something else, whatever it is. I'm here to hang out with you today. But not only am I going to show you that, I'm also here to let you know that when things happen in your life, it's okay to take time for those things and to reprioritize what else you have going on. I bought the fabric for this dress long before I really got started on it. I found this pink gingham material. This is a poly cotton blend, and it's rather thin, so I actually also bought white fabric, which is the same as the gingham, the same poly cotton blend, and I was able to use them together, so I'm basically flatlining the entire dress. So I'm using like one layer of the gingham and one layer of the white together to create one thicker layer of fabric. Now, with other projects going on and the opening of the Barbie movie becoming closer and closer to present, I knew I had to get started on this. Well, it just so turns out that as I was getting started on this, my life took a turn. I have been going through some very huge changes pretty abruptly, and I am now in a new place and a whole new setup. I'm kind of getting settled in. So going to see the Barbie movie the day it came out was not a top priority any longer, nor was finishing the dress by the day it came out. So in making this dress, I at first thought I would just draft the pattern because it's not really that complicated. However, because so much was going on in my life and I just kind of wanted to get it done, I thought maybe there's a pattern out there I can work with. You know, there's a lot of vintage pattern inspiration these days. There's got to be something. So I found a fairly similar pattern. This is a simplicity pattern, and this dress has the basic shape. There's, however, a few things that I needed to modify in the pattern. So first of all, the neckline is too high. That was a very simple modification. The straps are actually tie straps, so really no change was needed on the straps. I just had to recut the neckline, and I did that while I was sewing and fitting the dress. The other thing is that this skirt is gathered on and Barbie's movie dress skirt is pleated. That was a very easy fix, or alteration, I should say. I used the same volume of skirt, I just pleated it instead of gathering it. So I think those are very simple modifications. So if you are interested in using this pattern for the dress, go for it. And if you would also like a higher neckline dress, this one's got you covered. Here I've started cutting out the pattern pieces. I started by cutting them exactly as the pattern, and then I altered them after I cut them out. This pattern features darts in the bodice, and there's a really handy little method you can use to mark the darts using a tracing paper. You can buy this at your local craft store. I haven't used this in a long time. I did learn to use this when I was little. And so this is my first time using it in many years, actually. Usually I just kind of mark the darts on my own, but here I'm going to go ahead and trace them. And in going through this again, I did discover a little tip for you. Putting this down on the ironing board, the surface was a little too padded to really get the pressure I needed. So I ended up instead moving to the table and doing it there, and I was able to get more pressure as needed. Even this way, I found that the markings were a bit lighter than I would like them to be, a little hard to see. So I took the pattern off and the tracing paper off and went over them again so that they showed up better. I don't know why they came out so light, because I remember when I was a little kid doing this very, very quickly and easily and having zero issues whatsoever with the tracing, and the markings always came out really dark back then. So I don't know if maybe the quality of the tracing paper has changed since then. Maybe I'm doing something a little bit differently. Who knows? But anyway, I got it to work enough, and the tracing paper can be a really helpful tool. When sewing darts, it can be really tricky to get that point exactly right. So when I'm sewing the darts, first of all, I'm making sure that I'm following that line that I traced out from the pattern, and I'm not backstitching at the start of the seam there at the point. I am backstitching at the end of the seam, but then to finish off the top, I'm taking those loose ends of thread and tying them into a square knot. So that way I get a really nice clean point on the dart. These are the shoulder straps for the dress. So the dress features 4 strap pieces, 2 attached to the front and 2 attached to the back, and then they tie at the shoulders, which I think is such a cute detail. And bonus, when you're working with a gingham fabric, the lines are already straight on the fabric, so it was super easy to cut these out without having to really be finicky with the pattern pieces themselves. To create the straps, I folded them in basically like making bias tape. I folded the 2 sides into the center, and then I folded that in half along the center again. Big difference between the pattern and what I'm doing is that I am not gathering the skirt, I am pleating it because Barbie's dress is pleated. In order to do that, I am measuring out how big my skirt piece is, and I'm going to divide that up into equal pieces, and then I will pleat all of those equal pieces onto measured places on the bodice. So I measure out the distances on the skirt, and then I also measure out the distances on the bodice, and then I match those up to each other. So everywhere I placed a little pin marking, I just matched that pin on the skirt to the corresponding pin on the bodice, and then I create the pleat by folding the fabric within that section. And I just do that for all the pleats. I also ended up needing to take in the waistline a little bit more since the skirt was already attached and it was a bit long in both the body and the skirt. I just re-sewed that waistline there, so I effectively took in the bodice of the dress from its bottom as well as took up the length of the skirt from its top. So just kind of squinched those in a little bit more there. Next, it is time to finish off the edging of the neckline. Instead of a traditional hem, I'm using bias binding to do this. So I'm using a single fold white bias binding, which I purchased. You can make this too, whichever you like. This is a trick my mom taught me when I was little, and it is super cool. So you open up one side of that bias binding and you stitch it onto the edge of the fabric, right sides together, and you're basically sewing along that fold. So then you can take the bias binding, fold it over onto the back, and then you can stitch that in there just like a hem. The benefit to doing it this way versus just folding over your fabric is whenever you have curves, that bias binding is going to help to go around the curves smoothly. So it's going to be easier to get a nice smooth hem than trying to fight with your fabric. I love this trick and I hope it helps at least someone because I think it is super cool. And next, it is invisible zipper time. You can easily install an invisible zipper using the zipper foot on your sewing machine. The invisible zipper is applied first to one side of the garment, sewing close to those teeth, and then after that side is applied, you apply the other side, again sewing close to the teeth, right sides together. Hemming the skirt of the dress was pretty simple. I just folded the fabric over twice, ironed it, and then stitch that seam. One more addition beyond the pattern. Barbie is wearing a belt, so we need to make a waist belt to go with this dress. It's the same fabric as the dress, And once again, using that gingham to help me cut straight lines. Love it. I am a fan of using any type of straight patterned fabric to help cut straight lines. Essentially, I sewed the belt piece into a tube, turned it right side out, pressed it, hemmed the edges, and then looped it through this plastic belt buckle that I purchased. I couldn't find the exact one like Barbie had, but this one is pretty close. To assemble the bow, that very small piece goes around the larger rectangular piece, and that creates the bow in effect. This is often all you need to do for a bow. The only reason I have more pieces is because I want the hangy down parts like Barbie has on her bow. So this right here is just your method for many cosplay bows. Now these hangy down pieces can be sewn together as one piece. I did them in two because that was just how it worked best with the fabric that I had remaining. So I sewed them together, and then I'm actually going to put that little rectangular piece around the entire thing, and I'm gonna let those two taily bits hang down from the lower portion of the bow. I would like to note that for my complete look today, I am also using a petticoat. This one is a Malco Modes petticoat. You can use any petticoat that's the right length for your dress. I'm wearing some really cute pink Mary Jane heels that I found on Amazon, and my cat eye sunglasses are also from Amazon. Not sponsored. None of this is sponsored. Anyway, I'll include the exact things I used in my Amazon list in case you guys want to find them yourselves. The wig is also from Amazon, as is the jewelry. You know, Amazon really should sponsor me, but at least I have an affiliate link, so I guess that counts for at least a few pennies. I think this dress is so super cute. I feel like an adorable Barbie doll in it. and I had a lot of fun shooting these photos and reveal footage with my best friend Joy, who I now have near me all the time. So that's a super bonus to where I'm at right now. I am so excited to be settling into a new phase of my life. It has been a little bit tricky getting through it, and I've had a lot of big feelings come up, which I am giving myself time to feel and process and work through. And that is why I have not prioritized the Barbie dress. I have prioritized instead going through this life transition. However, one thing for me that kind of keeps me stable throughout whatever craziness is going on is creating, and specifically sewing. So for me, having some projects going at least in the background, even if they're going more slowly, or just giving myself a day here and there to be like, okay, I'm setting aside the big feelings today and I'm just gonna sew and ground myself. So for me, that's one of my coping strategies to keep going and not let whatever big thing is going on totally consume me. So I really hope that you will come back and join me for my upcoming projects. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit that notification bell. I'd love to see what you're working on and hear from you. You can find me on all the social medias as Daisy Viktoria. My website is daisyviktoria.com. And a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon who help me to continue creating content like this just for you. I hope you have an absolutely magical day, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.